Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. We see Palantir coming out with some more bullish news as they have announced the official extension of a big partnership that we're going to be covering here in just a few moments, and we're going to be analyzing on why this is really bullish for Palantir, especially at these record high prices. We see Palantir push to record intraday highs, but closing at $60 still amidst inflationary data, the CPI data, coming in right as expected. As this compares to basically the broader market consolidating on the day, Palantir is still looking relatively healthy. We're going to be analyzing everything that you guys need to know. Also talking about an interesting article that Morningstar puts out regarding their take on Palantir after the recent Q3 earnings, and we'll be covering some of the other things happening in the market and specifically what's been going on with Tesla. We're close to 18,000 subscribers. Let's keep it running. Hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, not a financial advisor, collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now pop it up on here, Palantir at $60.70. Let's first talk about the official announcement on their page, talking about Palantir, that they are proud to extend the partnership with Rio Tinto and accelerating the deployment of Foundry and AIP across Rio Tinto's global value chain. They say here that Tinto relies on Foundry at Oyu Tolgoi, if I'm saying that right, which is basically one of the largest block cave copper mines in the world. I didn't know that. Learning something new every single day. To manage geotechnical risk and mine safety and miners and equipment in real time. So great to see here. I believe this was a 4-year contract extension. That's what I saw kind of across the board. Correct me if I'm wrong for any reason on that. But Palantir continuing to be in the headlines, establishing these partnerships. We've seen this continuation of big headlines being made for partnerships, new types of collaborations, how AIP is being incorporated into multiple different sectors. And you see right now, also, we have DevCon that's happening. A wrap for day one here. You can see here the CTO came out, made some remarks, keynotes also. We're going to be waiting for DevCon to officially wrap up here and coming up with some of the biggest details and benefits that we saw from there. But nonetheless, this gives more exposure for Palantir. The CTO, I do really like him. He's got some great composure in the way that he formulates his sentences, what he's trying to get out, and does a really great job explaining, I think, some of the core values of Palantir and also their operations, because a lot of people wonder, what does Palantir even do? It's important to explain it and bring that down to layman's and simplistic terms to people that may not even know what Palantir is. And that's really important, especially for exposure. Now, let's talk about Morningstar. After earnings here, is Palantir stock a buy, a sell, or fairly value? Now, we do know that Palantir, and specifically Morningstar, typically has given Palantir a much lower fair value estimate, and this is coming at $21 compared to where it trades right now at $60. Now, we do know that Palantir does have a very high premium, and considering that it's one of the most valued stocks in the software SaaS industry, we see a lot of momentum behind Palantir. And specifically, what they talk about here is that it's one of the clearest beneficiaries of an uptick in demand for AI solutions. I would agree with that. In that its AIP platform, it's continuing to fire on all cylinders thanks to the demand on both the commercial and the governmental clients, and that they actually see a long-term runway in the government sector owing to the massive demand for AI first solutions across things like the military, the defense sector, particularly, and healthcare. Now, with the better expected quarter in the books, they raised the actual fair value estimate to 21 from 19. Now, talking about fair value, the valuation that's been completely disconnected from Palantir's trading recently. We've talked about that. That is not necessarily a bad thing, especially for everybody that is up on Palantir. Everybody that's holding, that's been on the sidelines, doing very well in terms of their positions. You're going to see these fair value estimates that are going to come out. They're going to be the biggest justifiers from the bearish perspective. That's not going to be happening, or that's not going to be going away. One of the big questions is, when is valuation actually going to become a concern to the market? Right now, it's not a concern. We can see that just with where the price of Palantir continues to grow. We know that their financial strength is incredible. So when we see a correction in Palantir, I think that could happen. We don't know, but we could see a decent dip once we saw a profit taking cascade, that's when I think a lot of people on the sidelines are going to buy onto that dip. And with Palantir, with $3.7 billion in cash and liquid investments and no debt, they're not going anywhere, regardless of their stock price in the short term and the long term, in my prediction. With all that money on hand, they got a lot of room for a stormy season. Talking about risk and uncertainty, what the bulls say, what the bears say, we can go back and forth. Nonetheless, Palantir starting to hold above the 60s, which is incredible. We thought it was crazy. Palantir holding above the 50s here. So the fact that Palantir is doing well and looking even at options activity for end of the week expirations, we even have a lot of call volume at the 63, a good amount of call volume at the 65, outpacing the puts here. So at the 65, that is nuts. Do we see Palantir at $70 by the end of 2024 with this momentum that we're seeing in the rally? Now, talking about the rally specifically, what we are seeing in the market is basically this post-election rally that we've seen from the recent results of who's going to become the next president in January. We've seen a lot of influx into the market. The broader markets had basically one of the best weeks that we saw last week in the whole year. And now we're seeing a little bit of a cooling off here, a little bit of a consolidation, not bad. What investors, and I think what Wall Street is particularly looking at is looking at the CPI data. Now, this came in today. Core CPI rose by 0.3%. This basically came in as expected. This is a big gauge, a barometer basically, on what the Fed's going to do regarding interest rates. Now, even though it came in as expected, the only hesitancy that comes with that statement is that nevertheless here signal that the Federal Reserve's fight against inflation is not yet to be won. And we do know the Fed is going to take any measures to try to keep that soft landing, which we've seen done, successfully so far, but also how do we maintain that soft landing? And what type of changes do we need to make in terms of interest rates? We just saw, of course, that 25 basis point reduction. What does that mean going forward for the last one here for the end of the year? Will there be another reduction? We see core CPI, like I said, rising here, 0.3% for the third straight month. So we're seeing resiliency in the economy and even, warmness in the economy, even though it's coming in as expected. So really, investors, they're deliberating right here whether this post-election rally, is it going to continue? Does it still have room for to run? You're seeing some of the wealth advisors right here expecting still upside to be had. And that is because really, with all the money to add, there's a lot of opportunities that still have room. And there's a lot of cash that's sitting on the sidelines. We've seen this from money market funds. There's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines for investors awaiting for more certainty on the market. So I would agree with that statement. Once we do see more certainty entering into the market, then we're probably going to have more of a rally that continues. And that's where Palantir could possibly, with the rally that we're seeing, could possibly push up into the 70s. Now, it's really going to depend how the market emotion, psychology is going to play. That's also a big indicator behind fundamentals. If you kind of throw all that out the door, looking at the psychology of Palantir stock, looking at the psychology of the market and what investors are going to be doing in terms of anticipations, that's where we can see some big swings. Now, let's talk about some of the other things that we're seeing. Broader market, like I said, basically consolidates on the day, not doing too bad. Another big index that a lot of people have been following is the IWM. This is the short cap ETF, the iShares Russell's 2000, ticker symbol IWM right here, comes down about 1% today. Still doing well. We've seen this jump from 221 all the way to 242. So doing well this year so far. And we see Elon Musk here that has now fulfilled the role of becoming this efficiency boss, as we've seen in the Department of Government Efficiency. And talking about his full list of jobs right here, we've seen that he's been given in the new incoming Trump administration after supporting his election push. Now, Donald Trump right here has tapped Elon Musk to actually lead this with the other person. I forgot who the other person are here, Vivek Ramaswamy, if I'm even saying that right. But look at all the jobs that Elon holds now is pretty incredible. He's been tasked with co-leading the Department of Governmental Efficiency. You also have, he is the world's richest man, is the CEO of Tesla. He is the boss of SpaceX. He acquired Twitter, now X in 2022, and he's the co-founder of CEO of Neuralink, and he also leads the startup XAI. So he has his hands incredibly full and is now taking on a very big project going into the next year. I don't really know how this man has enough time to manage all these companies. It's pretty incredible to see that one person can do that sort of thing. So what are your predictions going forward on Palantir for the rest of the week here? What are you guys expecting? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's continue this road on to 18,000 subscribers. Peace out.